Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. At the outset, I would like to thank the management of Acharya Institute of Engineering Technology, its authorities, the chief mentor, and my friend Dr. S. Ramachandran. I think I am speaking to you for the second or third time. I am not sure. Well, this this conference on digital teaching methodology during COVID situation is the apt one, is the needed topic for this kind of situation. See, we are experiencing, teachers and students are experiencing a different scenario altogether, which we were not used to for the past, several years, several maybe centuries. See, even take for example this webinar. We are in touch, but we are not in touch. We are able to see each other, but we are not able to see each other physically. So the our traditional teaching practices have come to a halt now. Have come to a halt. Earlier also we had this digital modes, maybe along with the traditional teaching modes. Now even UGC is suggesting go for 40% content online and only 60% content offline. So this is it's very relevant that Acharya College of Engineering and Technology has come up with such an idea with a panel of speakers who are there to enlighten the audience. I would like to quote from Taittiriya Upanishad. Yes, shloka. I will read, I will give the meaning also. Shraddhaya dheyam, ashraddhaya adheyam, shriya deyam, Hriyadeyam, Biyadeyam, Sambitadeyam. This is very relevant too. It is told in a spiritual context, but I would like to relate it to teaching. First one is Shraddhayadayam. It is about donation. How do you donate? How do you give away? The rules for donation. This teaching is also a kind of dana. The teacher donates, gives all his knowledge to the student. See, of course, he may be salaried or something, but you cannot measure the teaching by a salary. Salary is there for his livelihood, but you cannot compensate the knowledge that he is giving. The only thing we can do is we can pass it on to somebody else. So I will relate it to this donation to teaching. First one is Shraddhayadayam. That means give with sincerity. I would like to say teach with sincerity. You give all your knowledge with sincerity, with utmost sincerity. Then all this innovation or creativity, all this will step in if sincerity is there. Next one, Ashraddhaya Adeyam. Don't give without sincerity. That is, don't teach without sincerity. Don't teach without sincerity. Then Shriya Deyam, that is, give in abundance, give in plenty. Don't give, they will put in Dakshina, they will say, பொண்ணு வைக்கிற இடத்துல பூ வைக்கிற மாதிரி வச்சுடுவாங்கல்ல, அப்படி இல்லை. Shriya Deyam, give plenty, give all your knowledge to the student, give an access, give an abundance. Then Biya Deyam, that is, give a feeling of fear that we are giving little. So let's teacher have a moral fear that we are not giving our full to the student. Okay, still something is lacking. So they will say கற்றது கையளவு கையா கல்லாதது உலகளவு, like that. That fear must be there, moral fear must be there with the teacher. If a teacher is haughty that I know everything, I have given everything to you, no. So Biyadeyam, give with a feeling of fear. Then Hriyadeyam, give with the humility. Give with the humility. Because all knowledge essentially comes from Him. Okay? All knowledge comes from God. We are only communicating it to others. So Hriyadeyam, give with the humility. And Samvidadeyam, give with the knowledge and purpose to whom we are giving. That is, let us know who the student is, to whom we are giving, to what level we are giving, that we must know. So let me repeat that: Shrayadayam, Ashradaya Adheyam, Shriyadayam, Kriyadayam, Biyadayam, Samvidadayam. This applies to teaching. Well, it is about digital teaching methodology during COVID situation. And maybe I will give a start to my topic also. It's about creative approaches in digital teaching methodology. So it is about teaching methodology. What is there in what's the teaching methodology? I would do it like this: teaching methodology, then digital teaching methodology, and creativity in digital teaching methodology. So let's be clear, what is teaching methodology? Maybe it's not known to you, maybe freshers can be there. See, in those days, in our days, we never had this digital background, digital support. Even when I was doing PhD way back 35 years ago, yes, even to get a paper, now you are able to download the paper just like that. You go to ResearchGate or anything else, and if you subscribe digital media, you go and search for this and ask the author, he will just email you. Next day you will have the paper on hand. Those days, we had to go to Indian Institute of Science or bigger institute, IITs, run around that library. They will be giving Xerox only few pages per day, like that. Digital support was not there. Even for teaching, digital support was not there. Then, was there no creativity those days? Was there no creativity? So, without a PowerPoint, without animations, without software, okay, and even without what is this equipments, the models, our teachers were able to teach us and develop the creative thinking in us. How was it possible? It was possible because they had Shraddha. Shraddhayadayam. They had all sincerity. So you must have seen WhatsApp, famous WhatsApp forward that C.K. Raman, I'm sorry, our Raman, Nobel laureate Raman, would be seen in that picture with PowerPoint like clear handwriting on the board, and he would be teaching them. It would be like a bulleted PowerPoint, very neat picture of Raman, Professor Raman there. So they had all creativity. Why it is missing? Why we are talking about creativity in, see, even somebody may say those days, if you do something with what is this OSP projector, they will say creative teaching. The committees, when they visit, they will keep on asking whether you have OSP projector, overhead projector. That was the innovation or creative method of teaching, support, all that. Now, what do you have? LCDs, PPTs, all digital things have come. Okay, you can teach to hundreds of students at one stroke. All that has come now. Then, what happened to this creativity? Where has it gone? Why are we again searching for it? So let's understand the teaching methodology, common teaching methodology. There are two kinds of teaching methodology. One is teacher-centered, other is student-centered. The teacher-centered approach, what happens? The teacher assumes that the students assume the students to be empty vessels, and you have to fill up over there. And the teacher is the boss of the class. Whatever he decides, he would teach. And the student learning is measured objectively through tests and assessments. In this method of instruction, the teacher play certain roles like formal authority. He is the authority. He has all authority to decide the conduct of the class. Who should ask question and all that. Then he is an expert. He has all the knowledge with him. And he is also a personal model, that is his style to be enunciated by the students. He demonstrates to students how to access and comprehend information. This teaching approach, earlier days it was there. Nowadays what happens? The UGC, all bodies, they are moving towards student-centered approach. Student-centered approach to learning. In this approach, still teachers are the authority. Okay, nobody questions the authority of the teacher, but the students play an equally active role in the learning process. That is the difference. Students also participate. It's not the matter of asking questions. I will quote from the known history of Vivekananda. During college days, some topic, English subject or something, Vivekananda was in the class. Something was taught to him by the professor. He could not understand a bit of it. So maybe several reasons. Maybe the lecture was not effective. Maybe the topic was tough so much. He could not get it. But when he got back home, he took that book, he went through on his own, then he could understand every bit of it. Even my son used to say like that. Sometimes the topics which appear difficult in the classroom turn out to be easy when the student goes and reads on his own. What's the meaning? See, anyway, if I have to teach from the book, if student has the ability to read and understand, see, all knowledge are already there. So if I teach PG here at a place, I'm mostly teaching what I have been, what I read during my PG days. Maybe little advances are there. But what happens? This student, when he participates, instead of teacher teaching something, student not understanding, he goes to home, he reads on its own, he understands. If you involve the student there itself in the classroom, that's called student-centered learning. It is of much importance during this digital era. Okay? Now you must be seeing teachers, right? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? This is always there, right? The students just vanish. They won't be there. In one webinar, what happened? One student renamed himself as connecting ... He renamed himself as connecting. So what happened? Whenever the teacher saw his screen, it would be saying connecting. So teacher would be thinking, okay, student is still trying to connect. Then he found out the trick one day. This fellow puts it on connecting and he vanishes out of the classroom. Okay, then how to involve students in this digital era? That is the challenge, or whatever you call it. In this student-centered methods of instruction, there are two streams. One is differentiated instruction. So low technology use, that is, you discriminate and differentiate the students, okay, the average, below average, or the bright ones, like that. And then you go on teaching them in a differentiated manner. It can differentiate in a number of ways, how the students access content, the types of activities students do to master a concept, what the end product of the learning looks like, how the classroom is set up, all that. You can make students read book on their own at their reading levels, okay, offering different varieties of tests. Now, UGC has come up with a list of tests, at least 40-50 varieties of tests. The evaluation reforms, you can go through that. Then the second stream is inquiry-based learning. So this is based on student investigation and hands-on projects. Inquiry-based learning is a teaching method that involves high technology. In this, the teacher is viewed as a facilitator, not just a dictator. He facilitates. See, wherever you go to a bank or something, there will be facilitators that they will help you to learn something. They will help you to do that. If you go to a gym for doing exercise, there will be a facilitator. He will help you to operate the gym machines. Then he is a delegator. That is, they act as a resource, answering questions, reviewing the process. Teachers play a passive role in students' learning, and delegator is to foster a sense of autonomy in the learning process. That's, let's say, let's learn together. Sahana vavatu sahanau bunaktu sakaviryam karavavahai. Now, let me come to this digital learning. So having set the tone, the teaching methodology are two kinds, and we have to shift to student-centered learning, student-centered teaching. So no longer you cannot, a teacher cannot only dictate, learn this, learn that, like that. A teacher cannot only keep on dictating. So about teaching methodology, I told something to set the tone. Then digital teaching methodology. Yes, it's a revolution. It allows us to control how, where, and when we want to learn. That is what UGC says now. Give more freedom to teachers, more freedom to students in the national education policy. Students should have a lot of options, teachers should have a lot of options, and convert 40% of the content online, even in a paper itself. Even in a paper itself, 40% of the content should be learnt online and 60% offline. So what are all the common digital learning tools? So blended learning is there. That is the order of the day now. UGC has come up with a new concept called blended learning. Classroom technologies are always there, your gadgets. E-textbooks are there. Nowadays, you see, whenever you want a book, the student just download it. E-textbooks are there. Objects to help learning are there. And the personalized learning is sitting there. I can learn at my own pace. Okay. Teacher teaches something, maybe I was sleeping during that time. I can have a recording, I can listen to it later multiple times till I understand a particular point. Online learning concept is there related to that. That is completely online degrees have come up now. Then the era of open source, open educational sources. Earlier days you have to purchase. Now everything you see that now Zoom is free for a certain time. Google Classroom is free. Okay. Google Meet is free. Like that, they are coming up with open source. So open source things are available now for access. And virtual labs are there. Then mobile learning is also there as a digital learning tool. So how do you bring in creativity here? There is one problem. This creativity and digital learning model are crucial educational objectives nowadays, and the teachers should fully exploit the educational potential of digital technologies. But what are the obstacles in using this digital technology? So creativity a bit later. Now about digital teaching technology, what are the obstacles? One is the divergent thinking is not there, and the convergent teaching practices are there now. The convergent thinking is you give facts and move towards the answer. And the divergent thinking is you stimulate, you ask questions and move towards ideas. So teachers will have that restriction. Even nowadays, you see even young teachers, they have certain uh, ideas. See? They start with facts, they teach, deliver the lecture, and get away. But a innovative teacher will stimulate the student to learn something. He will motivate, then let the students learn the facts for themselves. Then another problem with not using creativity is teachers' negative beliefs towards creativity. I have seen this over 3 decades of experience in this academic field. I have recruited, even dozens of teachers we have interviewed. They are a bit scared of or allergic to, so when you say creativity, what creativity, sir? They are dull students. They don't even know formula. They have forgotten whatever they studied in schools. They have forgotten whatever they studied in UG. They have even forgotten tables, all integration formulas, all basic things they have forgotten. The only way is to give them notes and to kill all creativity. And this is a vicious cycle. We should break it. It's a vicious cycle. See, when interviewing, we found out that the teachers who come up there, they say, no, we never studied through textbooks, sir. Our teachers, gave us notes. We studied through notes. And in turn, I have all the notes. One fellow surprised me. He said, I have all the, during interview, he said, I have all the notes which I studied 20 years ago. I still have them intact. I will use them. What creativity will come over there? The dead notes, and he will give the notes to the other. That is convenient. That is convenient. So if you encourage what is that creativity there, students will start asking questions. So some teachers are rigid. They won't go for creativity. Third, importantly, the educators, maybe the owners of the institutions, they are not prepared to apply creative teaching strategies. Suppose a English teacher wants to teach classic, maybe Shakespearean, Shakespearean classic or something through a script, not through classroom. She wants to teach the drama by actually enacting it in a natural scenario. Okay, so that will be, she feels that this learning will be better over there. Maybe a history teacher may feel teaching about his monument, okay, in the within four walls, not so good. I will go to the temple itself and tell about the architecture there itself, he wants. But The educators may not be prepared. They will say, what is all this? Teach in the classroom, don't come out of the classroom. That's why that's kind of open schooling is coming now. If I would like to walk and talk, like walk and teach, if I would like to walk along with the student and to tell him whatever he wants, why not? If you have read Abdul Kalam's Wings of Fire, he mentions with gratitude the things he learnt from his maths professor, I think Totatri name. During walking, Abdul Kalam used to walk along with the teacher, and he remembers well whatever the teacher taught him. Yes? Yes? Okay. Whatever the teacher taught him while walking, not in classrooms. So this is a slight creativity coming out of the classroom. Some other voice disturbance is there. Okay. These are the difficulties. And once more, you will go and ask any teacher. We use digital technologies for what? For preparing their notes. I have a big laptop, 1 lakh rupees laptop. I use it only for typing, for word processing. I do not do anything else with that. They use it to prepare their lesson plans, typing, rather than to work with students during lessons. What can be done as a creative thinking, and educational creativity, digital creativity? Let's think about this. Thinking should be different. See, if you think, so I tell you one small story, maybe a bit off track. There was a complaint to a car company by a person, I mean abroad, some USA or something. He says, see, my car has starting problem. When is the starting problem, sir? The beginning of the day, end of the day? Or don't you take it for some days together? No. When I go to supermarket, when I buy ice cream, when I come back after buying ice cream, the car has starting problem. It doesn't start. If I go and get some groceries, the car starts immediately. The car company dismissed that complaint immediately. See, there is no connection between buying ice cream and buying grocery and car starting trouble. No, we are sorry. This fellow kept on complaining. So some engineer over there thought, this fellow is daily he is saying this. Let's find out. He had a different method of thinking. He went with that fellow. What happens? He found out that when he goes to buy groceries, he could get it in 5 minutes. He would come back, the engine would be hot in that weather, it would start immediately. But the ice cream queue was pretty long, and it would take half an hour for him to get the ice cream and come back. By that time, the car engine would have become cold. So this thinking, that mindset must change. Second, one more example I will give, a managerial example. There was a supermarket, and in that, a fellow, a chocolate company, gave varieties of chocolates that would attract any child with the colorful wrappers and all that. Varieties of chocolates, varieties of confectionaries that could attract any child. Any child should pick them up. He gave it to the supermarket. He went after 10 days, asked, what happened? Did anybody get? No, nobody took your chocolates. Nobody is interested. Just breaking head. Why? Then he took some chocolates in their hands and asked the children over there, my dear children, do you like this? Oh, very attractive. We will take. What's the problem? Why did you not take till now? You are moving around all over. I didn't see them. The children said, We couldn't see them. Then he realized the chocolates were put at adult's height, maybe 6 feet high. The children were maybe 3 feet high or something. Okay, small children. So the thought was to put the chocolates in the lower racks so that students and the children could easily pick them up. So even in layouts, there should be creativity. There should be a different thinking. So like that, creativity in education can also happen. On one stand, let's see the innovation versus creativity. Innovation is the introduction of new or improved goods, services, processes. But on the other hand, creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. Right. Innovation is related to, so to say, implementation. But creativity is related to imagination. Innovation can be measured. You can, so there's a physical proof. But creativity cannot be measured. It's all works in the brain. Creativity is sitting here. Innovation follows creativity, and creativity precedes innovation. So when with the creativity, you can get into innovation. Right. So what are all the general ways to be creative? Then we will link it to digital creativity. See, somebody may think even digitalization is creative. It was there in those days. Even if you teach through a LCD, you are a very good teacher. You have creative ideas. That's the best practice. Earlier days, that was there. What are all the general ways to be creative? You ask the right question. Debug everything. The student should debug, teacher should debug. Then become an expert. You listen to talks. You use all your senses to dig into a subject. Then be open and aware. You should be open. That should be open. See, there was a king. Our mind should be open. If it is closed, creativity won't come. There was a king who threw a challenge to the assembly. He brought a very, very, very big lock. It was brought in a chariot. Maybe 7 lever, no? So big lever, 100 levers or something, I don't know. Big. And he said, this lock could not be opened. Key is not. How to make the key? So all the scientists in my darbar can come out with that. All discussed and they asked for the what is that blueprint of that lock that was brought. What is inside that lock? All were there in that diagram. All went through it. They were thinking, no, nothing. I am not able to find out anything very complicated design. How to make a duplicate key? We don't know. We don't know. Everybody started telling. Then one little guy over there who could think just went there and checked whether the lock is really locked. It was not locked. It was just in place. It was not locked. He said, my dear sir, this is not locked. Okay? That's a different thinking. You become open. I will give one more example, maybe known to you. There was a lorry height with a lot of load, got stuck in a lower bridge. Okay? A bridge underneath a way underneath a bridge. You must have seen such paths underneath a bridge. Only all vehicles cannot go. That's a height limitation. But somehow this fellow ran into that and got stuck. Could not move forward, could not move backward. So they were breaking and one said to break the bridge. No, no, that is we cannot do. Then dig the ground so that you can push it. Bring down the luggage. All that they were saying. But one small guy again over there, he told, just remove some air out of the tires. The vehicle will come down a bit. Then you push it forward. Then inflate it. This thinking should be open and awareness must be there. We should be conscious all the time. Then explore the future. Become a beginner. You think as though you are a beginner. Generate lot of ideas. Come out with a lot of ideas. So that they call brainstorming session. Come out with a lot of ideas. Then fuse all the ideas. Choose the best ideas. Then make something out of the great best ideas. These are some steps in what is that creativity. I will shortly tell you how to blend this creativity. I read in a paper written in 2018 in some journal. I would like to quote it. I am responsible for the flow. What's a universal creative process? Identify a goal, gather input, clarify the challenges sitting over there, generate ideas, prototype and strengthen, plan for action, implement and evaluate. That's a process for anything. Creativity doesn't mean absurdity. It should be useful, should have a process. Now let's come to two, that is creativity, teaching methodology, digital. So three words. So creative teaching methodology, digital teaching methodology, okay, creative inputs in digital teaching methodology. So what is generally creativity in teaching? It's a different thinking, different ways of teaching. See, for example, you have the simple Pythagorean theorem, a square plus b square equal to c square. It can be simply taught as a formula. This is a right angle triangle, the ABCs are there, and hypotenuse square is equal to the adjacent side, opposite side square, all that you can simply say and keep on giving exercises. That is one. Other, I saw elsewhere, take the rectangle triangle and draw a square on the side of each on each side. So three squares will come flanking the triangle. Then they say the area of these two triangles, sum of area of these two triangles adjacent mean sitting with the opposite side and adjacent side is equal to the area of the square placed on the hypotenuse. That is one. Then the creativity comes when modeling occurs. When modeling occurs, you can keep on drawing something on the board, but you can keep on teaching about magnet. Is this a magnet? Some poles attract, opposite poles repel. All that you can keep on saying with this a magnet, this a magnet. When opposite, I mean these repels and the same poles repel, opposite pole attract. All that you can. But simple thing is you bring a take them to the door, maybe the door stopper or sometimes magnetic. You can show it as application. So teaching, ordinary teaching itself can be creative. You have seen teachers teaching Tirukural through dances. I have seen some videos in some schools. The students will be sitting in a circle, and the teacher will dance in the middle of them, and trying to make them understand the concept of that Kural. So they may not even forget. He sings choral in with a tuned manner, with the tune, with the musics. So they learn that Tirukkural in a better way, okay, rather than asking them to repeat it 10 times. So teaching can be creative. What are the creative pedagogies? Flexible use of space and time, the study outside the classroom, take them outside. Collaborative learning approaches, game-based learning approaches, and non-prescriptive planning. That is, you don't prescribe anything as syllabus. See, in very premier institutes, the practices, they won't have a syllabus kind of thing. Whatever the teacher teaches. See, in those days, in Gurukula days, was there a syllabus? I don't, nothing would have been there. Whatever the teacher teaches was the syllabus. And he would give everything. He would give everything. Shriyadeyan. He will give everything, whatever knowledge he has, he would say, he would convey to students. Most importantly, in the creative pedagogy, participation of educators as learners in the classroom activities. Teacher should also be a learner. It may be like it's an enlightened learner. He knows things better, but he should teach along with the students. He must learn along, teach, learn along with the students. He must participative learning, experiential learning, both should be there. Coming to the digital connection between digital and creativity. See, this digital thing has killed creativity. Do you agree? See, if I give a lecture, uh, talk without any preparation, extempore talk, those days would be great. Nowadays, what happened? You put everything in PPT, points, bullets, and what happens? We end up reading the bullets. It's as if reading equivalent to reading the book. We put the book on the board and read it. Another, you ask a student, anybody, to multiply something. See, you see they say necessity is the mother of invention. See, the fellow who found out logarithm was asked by his father to keep on adding something, multiplying something. He felt bored. He devised logarithmic tables. Okay, so the necessity is the mother of invention. So creativity also, there must be a need. If student has to be creative, but that should be, mind should be free. But what happens generally with the digital things, if we want to draw a triangle through a software, you just put 3 dots over there, it will draw the triangle. You ask any student, just go at a general student, ask him to draw a triangle, he will mostly draw the equilateral triangle. Nobody will think of obtuse triangle, a triangle with a wide angle. No, in the first place, nobody will draw that. So that means when you study some properties of triangles, your mind is stuck to that equilateral triangle only. We don't go for varieties of triangles, obtuse triangle with one wide angle, two narrow angles. And you teach about the incenter, circumcenter of triangles. Some centers lay inside and some move outside also. How does the student know? Earlier days, teacher used to draw a lot of diagrams, lot of triangles to make him understand. So the creativity, see, digital, if you just go digital, everything is digital, creativity is lost. So how do you mix these two? That's why people are saying this blended learning. The four main creative pedagogies. One is learner-centered approaches. I told you, even be it digital or offline. That is matching the curricular objectives with the students' interest, making learning relevant and engaging, do a lot of problem solving. That is learner-centered approach. What prevents us from doing it in digital mode also? It can always be there. Then open-ended ethos, you providing space for uncertainty, exploration. So if you make everything concrete, there is no creativity will come there. Make everything concrete, give everything all facts. There is no creativity. See, one for a school children, I tell you, you can say the sum of angles of the in the triangle is 180. Okay? That is one way. Another, you ask the student to draw triangles for himself, a school child, kid. You draw and measure the angles. What's the sum of the angles? 180. Okay. You draw another triangle, maybe a wide angle triangle, obtuse triangle, a right angle triangle, a triangle with unequal sides, a triangle with equal sides, triangle with only two sides equal. All this you draw, measure the angles. Oh, it's all coming 180. Then maybe the sum of angles of triangles is one. Let's learn together, right? So that can happen. Some uncertainty you must give there. Then it should be a problem solving and a collective decision making session. Maybe you form groups and ask them to do something. Then connect it to real life situations. Then only creativity starts. So creative pedagogy. Connect it to real life situation. Anything. If you teach about angles, tell how the height of a tall pole is measured using trigonometric techniques. If you teach differentiation, tell them about how the what is that emptying of some water tank or something at school level. They have a lot of applications. Tell them applications, connect it with the real life, anything, statistics or algebra or any other physics, biology, anything, link it with the real life situations. Then only people will think the need for creativity. Okay, I told you about creativity. What is digital creativity now? Digital creativity, the technological devices have entered our life. It's a digital society. The concept of creativity has to be given another thought. What is creativity in this digital era? These digital technologies are tools which allow the learners to extend or enhance their abilities, allow users to create new ways, novel ways of dealing with the task, and to cross boundaries. They can be used as a tools, not like it is like you learn from the digital ebook only. Okay. You learn from videos only without reactions, without interaction. No, use it as a tool. Actually, it is very tricky to understand the interplay between the digital mode and the creativity, as these two are often studied as separate domains. This digital creative teaching would consist of applying digital technologies with the aim to support creative pedagogies. I told you about creative pedagogy, the 3 or 4 methods. That is learner-centered approaches, open-ended ethos, synergistic collaboration with the synergy, and the knowledge connection. I told these are the some methods. So you should apply the digital technology. The other teaching, digital creative teaching practices, experiential education, that is learning by doing and problem-based learning. This can be done online. Then critical pedagogy, making the learner aware of the problem of the society and how do we solve it through our education. Then constructivism and constructionism, two words. That is, the students are not passive recipients of the knowledge. You don't dump things into their brain. Rather, they should take part in learning by actively building and transforming. That is, teachers should become facilitators only, even the digital era. So they can support through digital mode, but they should be facilitators. Then constructionism is learning environment not based on fixed curriculum. Students use technology to build their own projects now. This is digital mode now. In this, where do you go for models? Earlier days, manipulative technologies were there, physical tools that engage the students' hands-on training. Models will be there in biology lab, in physics lab, in maths, everything, models will be there. Now you are not able to, they are not able to have a feel on that. What do? You can go for virtual manipulatives. It's a variety of virtual manipulatives given by Wolfram, and their softwares called GeoGebra. Lot of virtual manipulatives are there. They completely substitute the physical elements. Maybe virtual labs are also there now. They give hands-on training. For example, I like to quote this. That's a bunch of simulations given free by Colorado University. It's called PET simulations, P-H-E-T. Search in Google as P-H-E-T simulations by Colorado University. It's a bunch of simulations available. That is, the student can experiment on his own. For example, if he wants to design a circuit, he can go to that simulation, pick wire, pick capacitor, pick a resistor, pick a bulb, okay, pick a switch, and all that he can put together and see whether the bulb burns or not. He will have a ammeter, voltmeter by the side. They can be dragged. Pick and play. So they are virtual manipulatives are available that should be used effectively during this digital mode, not just to talking through video. No difference. So make them and ask them to go for some this interactive tools that are available on web. Then the another name is educational robotics. Large number of educational robotics tools are available for sale. I just checked, even for 800,000 rupees, the tools are available. These small children can get that and make a small robot on their own, it will run. Okay. That is there. Then game design and coding, they must develop computational skills. So in this, through some language, through a Python or digital, a Python, a language, they must know a language, a computational skill. So I will conclude by summarizing the digital creative pedagogies. Pedagogies are teaching methodologies. One dimension is learning environment. You use space and time flexibly. Right? It's not I will teach from 10:30 to 11:30. Learn at your own space, own time, and own gap. You learn 10 minutes every day. Then use an outdoor environment to get them out. During digital technology, what do? Ask them to go out and to do something and get back to you. Then there should be some space for exploration. Don't tell everything. Leave something and ask them to explore. So this is what I have said. Explore further and get back to me. And connect knowledge to students' life. Connect the teaching with whatever the student experiences in his own life. Connect even with the COVID situation, connect with whatever they do in their day-to-day life, any concept. I told you magnetic concept, laser. If you teach laser, tell where the students would have faced laser. You teach them ultrasound, tell the student where they would have seen the ultrasound scanning. Okay. Then another dimension is teaching strategies. That should be inquiry based, project based, problem based, and experiment based learning. That can also happen digitally. It will you use the digital tools that are available on web. Then game based learning approaches. Okay. Nothing prevents us from doing it game based also. That means I said the set of simulations available which are pick and play, that's a game. And I saw there in balancing the chemical equation. It was a nightmare for me during my school days. But now I saw a tool there, chemical balancing. You keep putting the molecules over there, it will tells you whether the equation is balanced or not. That's a play method. The third dimension is teacher-student interactions. One output can be non-prescriptive planning. Don't prescribe anything. It's possible. See, the national education policy has come out with such a thing. Don't have, he says, reduce the curriculum to the core. Don't dump everything in the book into the syllabus. Leave space for the student to think. See, if we teach from, I wonder how we were sitting during our school days, from morning 8 to evening 4 periods in the morning, 4 periods in the evening. Okay, leaving no space to think. You dump everything in your head, then vomit everything in the examination. So let us try to have at least some papers, the non-prescriptive planning, maybe in laboratory. Why should you list out the experiments over there? Have a non-planned approach. Then let the teachers also participate as learners. Don't keep on talking to the students. See, I have done a lot of hands-on workshops. I love to do hands-on workshops. I interact with students. Even these digital days, I told them, let all the students come with the laptops. I will interact with them. I will talk to them one-to-one basis. I can manage a group of 50 students or something online. Let them come online, connect with me one-to-one. I will talk to them. There should be interaction. And you should also pretend like learning along with them. Then some sort of uncertainty must be there, ambiguity must be there in the teaching, leaving the room to think. The mutual respect must be there as a teacher-student interaction. That is, it's not that I teach you. We learn together. We learn together. Then digital tools. I told about digital tools. The manipulative technologies can be in physical mode or virtual mode. Educational robotics, cheap robotic tools are available. Okay, that can be purchased with the instructions. And coding, they must learn some coding. Some games can be designed for themselves. Okay. So this is summary. In summary, I would like to say, if you want to dissect them, this digital can go separate, teaching methodology can go separate. There can be digital mode without any teaching. Okay, lot of digital content without teaching. Teaching methodology can be without digital mode. Both can be without creativity. Both can be without creativity. In digital mode also creativity is sitting. I told you simulations are there. There are the things which can learn, and there are apps which gives quizzes for you, a varieties of tests. So let us try to put all of them together, understanding the limitations of each of them. Okay. So again, thanking the authorities of Acharya Institute. Let me conclude here. Thank you. Yes, I think I have concluded. I'm leaving it to the organ. Yes. I am hearing echo. Yes, organizers, anybody there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Your voice is clear. Yes, sir. Your voice is clear.
No? Not hearing me?
Hello? I'm hearing you, sir. Yeah. I'm hearing you, sir.
Okay, I think I'm done. I have finished my talk.
Yes, sir.
You
May
can
I
take
now
over.
request the respected participants to give your valuable feedback. May I now request the respected participants to give your valuable feedback. If any queries needs to be addressed, kindly feel free to ask. The platform is yours.
I think they have posted the link of feedback. Feedback link, I don't know whether it is there or not.
If any queries
Feedback link
needs
is
to be
provided.
addressed,
Or
feel free
you
to
can put
ask.
it in the chat box also.
Sure, sir.
Something. Yes, I think
Sure.
there is nothing.
Shall
They
we
have put
conclude,
thank
sir?
you. Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. On behalf of Acharya College of Engineering Technology, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our beloved chief guest who spared us time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. Your experience sharing about teaching methodologies, creative thinking, critical thinking, digital creativity, digital learning, and student handling during this pandemic situation will surely help us in our development and growth, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable things, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, then can I leave?
I take this prime time to thank all our morning session participants and